Very good morning to you. It's another Saturday, and a very, very bright, sunny Saturday it is too. And we are looking at Luke 7, verse 18 and 19 and 20. It's the incident when John the Baptist, who is in prison, and we know that from Luke 3, verse 19, it says that John the Baptist had been put in prison by Herod. So for all this length of time that we have been thinking about the early ministry of Jesus, from going into the wilderness and coming back and preaching in the synagogues and healing people, and his teaching of the Sermon on the Mount, all happen when John the Baptist is in prison. And we have to imagine what it was like for John the Baptist. John the Baptist had grown up knowing that he would announce the coming of the Messiah, a good news coming to all, God moving among people in great power and with great healing. He's in prison. He's in prison. And there is no evidence that Jesus went to visit him there, or even sent messengers to him. Even though later on in his ministry, Jesus does commend those who visit people who are in prison, there's no evidence that Jesus did anything for John the Baptist while he was in prison. In all those weeks and months that John the Baptist was in prison. And I wonder if John the Baptist expected that the one who he had declared to be the Son of God, the promised one, whether he thought that promised one would set him free, use his power to set him free. After all, he was the forerunner, he was the announcer, the messenger, announcing the coming of Jesus. Perhaps he didn't think his work was finished, and he had more to do. And he reaches the point where he thinks, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe this isn't the right person at all. Because surely, if he was the Messiah and he understood who I was in relation to him, he would come and set me free. He would at least minister to me. He would at least send some encouragement. A letter, or surely he would, wouldn't he? And it just makes me think, really, just this is the only thought, my first thought on this, because I'm going to spend a bit of time on this story, because it's a very important story. It seems very straightforward, but there's a lot in it. That John the Baptist, even great as he was, and with such a clear understanding of his role in the coming of the Messiah, had not expected to be put in prison. And I'm sure he never expected to die in prison. There's nothing in the prophecies about John the Baptist to say that he would die a martyr's death in prison. Nothing. All the prophecies I can think of about the messenger coming before the Lord does not say that he would be cut off suddenly. It's not, and I can almost feel as I read this, when he just sends this message, are you he who is to come, or shall we look for another? Have I got it wrong? I told everybody it was you. Is it you? Or did I get it wrong? He sent 2 of his disciples. So obviously there were people coming to and from him in the prison. His disciples were supporting him and caring for him and helping him. But he sent 2 of them to Jesus. And it just makes me think, there are times in our lives when things that we totally don't expect happen to us. We have an expectation of how our life will go on and how the Lord will bless us and care for us, and what will happen in our future. And things change very suddenly. I'm sure many of the Christians who live in the Ukraine are feeling that the last thing they expected was an invasion and the terrible things that have happened and those inevitable questions that come. Why did God let this happen? Why did God let this happen? And that opens up the whole debate about the fact that God, for the time that this earth exists until Jesus comes back, has given the power and authority in this world to men. And the prince of this world is the enemy until Jesus comes again. Jesus has defeated him, but he is still able to mess things up and to provoke people into doing terrible things. And it's not that God has forgotten or doesn't care. It's just that at this time, this is the time for salvation. This is the time when people can turn to God. And as soon as Jesus comes back, there won't be any need for faith because people will see him. And this is the time for faith to rise in people's lives. And there is evidence that there's a great deal of spiritual activity in those poor people in the Ukraine and those people in Russia. They are turning to the Lord in their hundreds, I understand. And that is wonderful, that out of every bad situation, God brings a great deal of good. But he does not cause wars to start. That is enemy work. That is the work of the one who comes to kill and steal and destroy. So just like John the Baptist, there are many people when something happens in their life that they did not expect would happen, and they don't understand why it's happened. There is an instinctive questioning of, did I get it? Am I in the wrong place? Did I misunderstand God's direction in my life? Did I make the wrong move? Has God forgotten me? And the answer to that is no, he has not. And we'll see how Jesus answers John the Baptist. But just think about today, John the Baptist, his great work and his sudden imprisonment and his bewilderment that Jesus does not set him free and that Jesus does not come and see him, that Jesus seemingly ignores the fact that he's in prison. And he cries out, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we look for another?" And Jesus answers that, and we'll see how he answers it. But just to think today, how do we react when the unexpected happens to our lives? Something completely comes across our lives that we never thought would happen. How do we respond to God in those circumstances? That's my thought for the day anyway. And have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.